Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, the pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people, the bust them, and everybody else in between. A wicked Wednesday has begun on the SportsGrid radio and television networks. Let's do this thing. We've got a stacked program tonight. Full house on the show. The Raging Redhead Cam Stewart is back in black this evening. The Raging Redhead Cam Stewart breaks it down with us. The TPC, the Players Championship, ready to tee off. Cam Stewart in the house. Brady Cannon kicks it with us. Paul Bovey throws it down. We talk NBA basketball, college basketball with Paul Bovey. Big man on campus, unable to join us last night. Big man steps up and in tonight. We talk college basketball with big man on campus. George Kurtz steps up and in. We talk NHL, Major League Baseball, and more with Kurtz, Ian Cameron, a.k.a. Babano, in level 3. As I stated, we've got a full house. We're running the gauntlet here tonight. We've got games that haven't started yet this evening, and basically all the aforementioned sports as well. We've got college basketball set to tip off still, but we got a bunch of games going on right now as we speak. NHL hockey, the Colorado Avalanche and the Vancouver Canucks, a big-time game in the Western Conference in the National Hockey League. But let's start off in the NBA tonight. The Lakers and the Sacramento Kings. We talk about the Kings a lot on this program because we're on when their games are ready to tip off. They're a strange team. They're an inconsistent team. I compared them to the Kentucky Wildcats last night in that, like Kentucky could beat anybody, but they can lose to anybody, and that's what the Sacramento Kings are. Last night, they just absolutely throttled the Milwaukee Bucks, punched them in the mouth. Going back-to-back, though, they are not a very good basketball team. And in fact, they're one of the worst teams in the NBA when playing in back-to-back settings. The Sacramento Kings are 3-7 against the spread when playing back-to-back games. The only teams worse than them, Indiana, are terrible in back-to-backs, 2-9. The Lakers, but the Lakers didn't play last night. The Lakers are 3-9 in Washington. Well, Washington are just terrible in all scenarios. But Washington, Denver aren't very good either. If I asked you who's the best team in the NBA against the spread in a back-to-back situation, I think it would surprise a lot of people if I told you the answer. The Portland Trailblazers. The Portland Trailblazers are 9-2 against the spread on the second night of a back-to-back. The Sacramento Kings are 3-7. We'll take the Lakers with caution, as Ian McDonald used to say. Proceed with caution. We've got NHL hockey tonight. Two hot teams going head-to-head. Two teams, different paths, but same goal. They're both heavyweight contenders in the Western Conference this year, the Colorado Avalanche. The Avs have started to dial things up a little bit. They've won 4 games in a row. They're in Vancouver tonight to take on a Vancouver Canuck team that has also won 4 games in a row. The Vancouver Canucks are without their all-star goalie, Thatcher Demko, for the next 2-3 weeks, give or take, or so. And a lot of people are kind of overreacting to this, I think. In the long term, in the big picture, the Vancouver Canucks need Casey DeSmith. And shout out to everyone joining us on Sirius XM Channel 159 on the SportsGrid Radio Networks. This is SportsRage. Yeah, in the long term, obviously they need Thatcher Demko. But Casey DeSmith has been solid. He's got an even 9.00 save percentage on the season. He's played only 12 games. That's the thing. They played Thatcher Demko a lot this year. Casey DeSmith has played in 12 games this year, started 12 games. He's 8-4. It's an impressive record. He's got a 2.40 goals against average. And something that was very interesting that Rick Tocchet brought up during his press conference yesterday, during his media meeting, was he said, I've been in the NHL for 30 years, and I probably shouldn't say this, but it is true when he said, if the players like the goalie, they're going to play harder for the goalie, and they'll block more shots. And he even said, I've been on some teams where nobody liked the goalie, and I got to tell you, nobody was blocking anything. And he went on to say about how Casey DeSmith is one of the most popular guys on the team. He made a point of that. He goes, Casey's like one of our most popular guys in the room, and everybody loves him, and he's done a great job for us, and I'm expecting everybody to really play great around him. And, that's pretty honest coach speak that you don't get from a lot of coaches. It's never easy when you're playing the Colorado Avalanche. The total is interesting in this game. They're two good teams. You want to say that it's going to play like a playoff game, but Colorado scored goals. This game sort of has 4-3 kind of written all over it. But at the same point in time, the Vancouver Canucks don't want that. The Canucks have been pretty successful as of late, playing lower scoring games, getting ready for the playoffs. And they're getting pretty good at it. And as we talk about, oftentimes when the backup goalie plays, a lot of people think, oh, my God, the game's going to go over and you get a higher total. When in reality, like I said, there's not that much of a drop-off between most backup goalies and starting goalies in the National Hockey League, to be honest. And in most instances, and as good as Demko is, Casey DeSmith is really good. And for whatever reason, it's true. Players play better, right? With sometimes they just do. It is what it is. It's like suddenly, like when the backup quarterback is in and the wide receiver didn't do anything all year, suddenly is catching passes for whatever reason. But the total is a tough one. I think we're getting value with the Canucks, as good as they are this year, and as dominant as the Canucks have been on their home ice. I think we're getting a pretty good number. You're getting the Canucks at minus 120 on home ice against the Colorado Avalanche tonight. The total, like I said, I'm going to take the under in this game and just hope that there's not a lot of early goals and it just dips and I catch the break. Because if there's a quick goal, it's going to pop up to 7.5. I'm more of an under better, as everybody knows, when it comes to betting on hockey. But this game, I kept thinking, man, Vancouver wins 4-3. But at the same point in time, I know Vancouver is going to be hell-bent on not turning this into a track meet unless they're the ones that are scoring the goals, which is possible. I mean, hell, they were up like 3-0 on the Jets a couple of minutes into the game the other night. The Canucks are the real deal. It's a statement game for them tonight. It's a big-time game. Their first game without Thatcher Demko. I think they show up tonight. Give me the Vancouver Canucks to win this hockey game. We're going to take the Los Angeles Lakers to win the basketball game against the Sacramento Kings. The Lakers are actually 2-point favorites, so it's minus 135 on the money line. But I'm going to lay the 2. I might live to regret this, but I'm not. I'm going to try to. I'm trying to get away from laying these money lines if I don't really have to. Right, 2.5, 3 would freak me out, but a bucket at 2. I'll take the Lakers. We'll lay the 2 points at minus 110 instead of playing the money line at minus 135. The Atlanta Hawks and the Portland Trailblazers, absolutely zero interest in this game. But with that being stated, hey, we're here to give you picks. And if you're a real hardcore degenerate, I would take the Portland Trailblazers plus the points in this game. I am personally not taking the Portland Trailblazers in this game. But if you're looking for a pick, that's what I would do. Let's roll. This is Sports Rage, the Wicked Wednesday.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Betting in-game, there's a big difference, right? Like the computer changes the number so often. Like, I tried to get this in right now, but in reality, as I saw plus 165 in the arena, they're hitting the shot. And I'm getting this like a couple of seconds late. And even the sports book, like technology can only travel so fast.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
How about this? Nikola Jokic, heavy favorite here at a -170 price, followed by SGA at +250, and Luka Doncic at a 7-1 price.
It would require a whole lot from Luka to 15 of the next 20 games he has to have triple doubles, something absurd. And it really just comes down to Jokic being amazing, doing everything that he's doing. I hate to say it, but he's probably had this locked up the second Embiid was announced out.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Let's roll this. It's Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency. There's a ton of stuff going on. College basketball, NBA basketball, NHL hockey. Countdown to the Players' Championship is on. Quick check right now of the games that are set to start. We're taking the Los Angeles Lakers in this game. They're -2 or -135 on the money line. I'd rather just take my chances with the -2 at -110. Sacramento, very impressive performance last night against the Milwaukee Bucks. But as I alluded to off the top of the program, Sacramento, one of the worst teams in the NBA in going back-to-back, 3-7 against the spread in back-to-back situations. The Lakers are actually worse at 3-8, but the Lakers didn't play last night. And in fact, don't forget, I think it was Thursday night, Thursday or Friday last week. We were on it. I think it was Thursday. The Lakers and Kings played, and the Lakers had a 19-point lead, and they blew the lead, and Sacramento came back and won. The Kings have the Lakers' attention tonight. The Lakers have this game circled. And here's a weird stat, too. Domantas Sabonis is actually 9-0 straight up in his career, head-to-head against Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis was asked about this earlier in the day, and he didn't seem to like it, which he said, it's not a one-on-one sport, huh? It was a good – he was not impressed with being challenged with that. But I think the Lakers are going to play tonight, and Vancouver and the Colorado Avalanche, the game of the night tonight in the National Hockey League. I'll take the Vancouver Canucks at -120. You're getting one of the best teams in the league at value at only -20 cents, even though Colorado won 4 in a row. And small lean to the under, 6.5. We'll play it and just hope that they don't score in the first couple of minutes, and we played the right side of the gamble and it drops early. All right, let's bring in Brady Cannon. Cam Stewart is back. Let's do this thing. This is really kind of the official start of the golf season. And Brady, I know that you were talking to a lot of odds makers, and they were saying that the action is a lot heavier for this tournament than it has been for any of the previous tournaments in the past couple of weeks. So it's starting to get real now. As the Masters approaches, the Players' Championship, the unofficial fifth major.
No, you're absolutely right, Gabe. And let me start off by welcoming Cam back to the program here. I wore my red jacket here, a little nod to Canada and our friends in the Great North. I know he's playing hurt tonight, so great to have him back on the program.
I'm not sure if that's red, actually.
Yeah,
I don't know, Brady.
It's red.
Is it really red? It looks black.
I
must be losing my eyesight here.
It looks more maroonish.
The light's
more maroon.
It's nice.
I wouldn't call it maroon. Maybe it's mauve.
Mauve.
Hey, it's a
Cam's face
counts,
is red.
right?
That's red. Cam's face is red. That's red.
Like I'm a bottle of Chardonnay. That's red. Exactly.
Well, thanks for ruining my tribute there, Gabe. My God.
I'm sorry. I just figured. I got thrown off by the red. I'm like, well, it's not really red, but okay. But sometimes the camera can do weird things. But yeah, great to have Cam back. Absolutely. Good to see you. Good to see you, Brady and Cam.
You're right, though. It kind of got started with the Genesis Invitational a few weeks back, the first golf tournament after football, signature event. Hideki makes that charge. Then we roll into the Florida Swing, and it was accelerated last week, another signature event, Bay Hill. But now you're right. The Masters is starting to creep into everybody's thoughts, and we have a big one here in the Players' Championship. So, yeah, the handle's increasing, the interest is increasing, and everybody's familiar with that 17th green at Sawgrass. And, even the casual golf fan is familiar with this tournament and this golf course. So, that gets people involved as well. I'm excited for it. It's always a volatile event. You can make birdies in bunches, and you can also make double bogeys in bunches. And it's a real random result-oriented golf tournament. I mean, course history almost doesn't even matter. Guys that win here are also the same guys that have missed the cut 3 or 4 times. It's a wild, wacky tournament, and I'm excited for it to tee off on Thursday.
One trend about this, and I'll throw it to you first, Braden and Cam. You can think about what you think about this, if it correlates this week or this is a random trend. But the last 6 TPC winners all finished 22nd or better in the tournament the week before. It seems like current form kind of has mattered in past years. So like I said, the last 6 TPC winners all were 22nd or better in the tournament the week before, there's a couple of guys that were top 22 that I think are legitimate contenders this week. But what do you make of a trend like that? Because to be honest, Brady, I'm not like a, tee to green guy and, shot saved and all this type of stuff. I get it, right? But it doesn't compute to me automatically. I have to sort of look it up and soak it in. But I sort of golf handicap a lot with my top 20s and stuff, sort of kind of like football trend handicapping. You know what I'm saying? Well, 5 of the last 7 times here and this and those trends. How much of a trend better are you? And I guess let me just ask you, what do you make of this that the last 6 winners were all top 22 the week before?
Well, it even goes a little bit further than that. It's 11 out of the last 12 that have finished 22nd or better in the week leading up. And no, I saw that. I am all about it. I opted for current form this week rather than course form. Course history, course form, I mentioned, it doesn't make much sense. A guy wins 1 year, misses the cut the next 3 years in a row. Course form and course history here is something I didn't pay too much attention to. Current form, absolutely. Every guy I'm on this week has either been off to a really good start this year or did really well last week, or both. So, no, I think that almost kind of makes sense in a lot of golf tournaments, Gabe. I mean, it's not that often where we see a guy just, dead in the water and all of a sudden he knocks the socks off of a field. And especially at a golf tournament like this, where you have a stellar field and an incredibly difficult golf course, you better have your game in order when you step up to that tee on Thursday.
Cam, what do you think of the last 6 winners? And as Brady mentioned, unbelievable, going back even deeper than the last 6 straight. So current form clearly does matter when you're playing here. This isn't a course you want to get right on.
No, that's
That's a bad way of putting it.
It's scary, Gabe. I was going to ask you. I'm like, you got any European handball, Chinese racing that we could put with Scheffler? He's the defending champion here, and you could post that guy at 5-1 or 6-1, and people will be rushing to the window. But there's a very interesting player, and I wanted to talk to you and Brady about it. Wyndham Clark, if not for Scottie Scheffler's best round, would have won last week. People are like, oh, he hasn't played at the Players. Who cares? It's like we talk about form. You know what I mean? The guy he can get it around in Florida. So you're giving me a golfer like him at 50-1. He's going to be on my radar because I think this guy's one of the hottest players going. And since he's won a major, he's found out how to win. It's going to be some of the usual suspects here, guys. So I agree. I think, you know what I mean? Experiencing this course, Gabe, I want to find guys hot coming into the week.
You can't make, I swear to God,
Yeah.
I only have 3 guys. I didn't go like with 6 and stuff. I sort of looked, all right, I'm going to go with these 3 guys. And Wyndham Clark is one of the 3 guys that caught my eye the most, actually. What do you think of Wyndham Clark this week, Brady?
Well, it's hard to deny anything that Wyndham Clark has done in the last couple of years. You know, if he would have gone on to win at Bay Hill, that would have been 3 wins in 3 signature events. Now he's got 2 wins and a runner-up. Not too shabby. This guy's
the only thing this guy
big...
has lost over the years is Taylor Mathis.
Yes.
That's right.
That's like, you know what I mean? Like, they've been saying in the last couple of years, like, damn, that's like, you know, I'm just kidding. You know what I mean?
It's money the guy
She told me that story.
Yeah. He's doing okay, Cam. Don't worry. He's moved on. He's moved on. But I'm just thinking, like, this guy's like, you know, I thought about that because when I thought about him, I didn't even think of that. I was like, damn, this is the guy that Taylor Mathis didn't even want to go out with again. Yeah. But I'm like, yeah, he's pretty good, though. He's not like some loser, huh? Like, he's pretty good golfer.
Major.
He told me that when I was working with her during Super Bowl week. She goes, I was watching TV one day. She goes, I think I dated that guy.
Yeah. She was on with us the day after it happened. And she told us the story about one of her friends texted her and said, didn't you go out with this guy? And she's like, oh, I don't know. They can have.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Betting in-game, there's a big difference, right? Like the computer changes the number so often. Like, I tried to get this in right now, but in reality, as I saw plus 165 in the arena, they're hitting the shot. And I'm getting this like a couple of seconds late. And even the sports book, like, technology can only like travel so fast.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
How about this? Nikola Jokic, heavy favorite here to minus 170 price, followed by SGA at plus 250, and Luka Doncic at a 7-1 price.
It would require a whole lot from Luka to, like, 15 of the next 20 games he has to have triple doubles, like something absurd. And it really just comes down to Jokic being amazing, doing everything he's doing. Like, I hate to say it, but he's probably had this locked up the second Embiid was announced out.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency, the Players' Championship, ready to tee off. And it's been so much talk and, quite frankly, a lot of negativity about the PGA Tour. And it's coming from all angles and even from the inside, right? In which players are out. I don't know. I don't understand why we do this. I don't understand why we do that. I don't like the rules of this. And you have all this stuff going on. But this seems to me like it's kind of like the first week where it's just sort of focused on golf. I know there's a Monahan story going on and stuff, but it's about the tournament. It is such a prestigious event. Not to mention $4.5 million goes to the winner. You got a $25 million purse here. So Wyndham Clark is one of my 3 picks, Brady. But lay it on the line for us right now. Who is Mr. Brady Cannon looking at?
All right. Well, I went down a few steps from the top of the board there and landed on Xander Schauffele. Got him at 25-1.
Well, friend of the program.
You're the golf kingpin, and even I'm like, bad pick. But sorry, go on.
Well, you know what?
If he wins this week, now I got to take him because of you. I wasn't going to do it. Now I better take him.
You're right.
I think it's been like
I took this guy for like 4 years, Brady. I took him in every major for 4 years.
Yes.
I haven't bet on him in about 4 years. This is my first time in a long time, and I'm hoping it was worth the wait. I mean, this guy plays Pete Dye courses excellent. He's been good here before. Now, he doesn't fit that trend about the week prior. He finished 25th last week, but
he was right there. I noticed that.
He was
right there, and he's got 4 top 10 finishes in this young season already. So I'm believing that the current form is there, and I think he's maybe flying a little bit under the radar. You don't see him at 25-1 too often. Then I went to Max Homa at 33-1. He did have a great week last week, finished 8th at Bay Hill. The short game was on fire. Last 36 rounds, he's 20th in this field for strokes gained off the tee. So he can get it done off the tee. He can get it done around the green. He's got the current form. Then I went a little deeper, 40-1 on Russell Henley. This guy's done well here in the past. He's got 3 top 20s at the Players, 4 top 10s at the Wyndham, which is a correlated course. He was number 2 in strokes gained putting last week at the Arnold Palmer. He finished 4th. Obviously, the form looks good. A correlation with the Sony Open as well. 4 of the last 8 Sony Open winners have been Players' Championship winners, and that doesn't include Russell Henley, who won the Sony in 2013. So if his form continues, I think he'll show up again this week. And then I took Shane Lowry at 42-1. Plays difficult golf courses well, plays the Florida swing really well, 4th at the Cognizant, 3rd last week at Bay Hill. This is an interesting one here. Last 36 rounds for strokes gained tee to green on Pete Dye design courses. Shane Lowry ranks 4th in this field, plays Pete Dye courses really well. You remember he did it at the PGA Championship at Kiowa Island where Mickelson won it. That's a Dye design. Lowry was 4th. And after that, I went with a Canadian, guys, Adam Hadwin, one of the most consistent players around TPC Sawgrass. He's got a top 10 finish here, a 29th, and a top 15 last 3 years in a row. He's been here 8 times. He's only missed the cut twice. Got him at 80-1. And then I took 3 long bombs, guys that are all in good form, played well last week, great short games. Alex Noren didn't play well last week. He didn't play, but he played well the week before with a 9th. At the Cognizant. So I got Brendan Todd at 100, Alex Noren at 125, and Andrew Putnam also at 125-1.
Brady Cannon kicking with us. We're going to get Cam's best bets tonight as well. But let me just throw a couple of guys at you, Brady, and ask you why they didn't make your list. All right? Sort of like rapid fire. All right. So Justin Thomas, who's won here before. How come he didn't make your list? Odds not good enough?
No, I think the price was pretty decent, and he's awful close. It's hard to argue against him. I just don't know if he's – and there's a part of me that's a little biased. I'm rooting for him to peak at Augusta. I don't want him to peak just quite yet, and I saw a little frustration last week. Yep. He might be just a tick off. I wouldn't be surprised at all by a top 10 finish.
Just one quick thing about Justin Thomas, too, Gabe, before I know you're going to talk about Hobbit. This is very important. His MO used to be closing tournaments. He can't, like, he's having problems doing it now. He has changed as a human. Like on Sunday, when he's there, he's the guy that falls back where he used to run over everybody when he won his major.
Yeah, he used to be fearless, yeah.
That's the thing. There's something. And
as you get
win
older, Cam, I remember, I forget what golfer, Brady, I don't know if you know the quote, and Cam, you guys remember. There was a golfer that said, he was kind of in his 40s. He said, man, all these young guys, he goes, I would rather be young and dumb. And he said, the older I get, the more I think. He goes, these kids don't think. They just grip it and rip it.
Yep.
Right. I do remember that. I can't remember.
Do you remember that quote, Brady? Remember he said, I'd rather be young and dumb and not have the skill, right? And he said, I overthink everything now. It was a quote. It was a real quote. Yeah.
He told me two things, too. He goes, you know what PGA golfers are, Cam? I go, what? He goes, extremely stupid or extremely smart. There's nobody in between. They're either genes like guys who are like Mensa members or stooges. Like there's no.
The dumb guys might do better. Actually, it might be a sport where you're just better being dumb. Like, oh, what? Like I didn't think about that. Like I don't know. Like I just hit it. Like it's just the ball. Okay,
that's right. It's right.
Victor Hovland not playing great golf, but you could argue, hey, you're getting 25-1 range with Victor Hovland. Cam, what do you think? Like Brady didn't bring him up, so what do you think about him?
I like Hovland a lot. And he's actually one of the guys I have said. I noticed, Brady, you added 2 beers to the 6-pack. It's a special tournament. 8 guys this week with those pooches. I like it. But, Gabe, I'm going to say this. Hovland can turn it on at any time. He's starting to get a little bit better. Brady, we do not agree. Like, he's showing form. He's not the Victor Hovland of last year when he was absolutely on a heater at the end of the year to win the FedEx Cup. But he seems to be trending, Gabe. When are you going to get Victor Hovland at that price, too? And I think he can play really well this week. I think he's a very dangerous
That's the
player.
thing, Cam.
Yes.
Like we can't wait for him to win to bet on him. Like you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean, guys? Like everyone's waiting for him. Oh, I'll wait for him to get a form. Well,
he's probably going to win because I was on him last week. So, you know, I expected him to show up last week. But I know he's been working like crazy on the range and you know, frustration. And I think it's starting to get to him a little bit. But to Cam's point, there's no doubt about it. And it was the same thing that happened to Justin Thomas when he won here. His price drifted. He was 25 or 30-1. And people are like, geez, Justin Thomas, that's a great buy. And he won. And that could happen with Hovland as well. So, you know, sometimes it's just about the price and the value. And 25-1. I mean, Hovland last week was 17. And now he's, you know, not double that, but half again. So that's a pretty big jump right there.
So I brought up one of my guys is Wyndham Clark. I'll get Brady's assessment and Cam's assessment of my 3 top picks, which are Wyndham Clark, Hideki Matsuyama. Hideki.
Yeah. And Give me your third.
And you're going to like my 3rd pick, and I'm buying in. And in fact, I think this is the guy that's going to win this week. Will Zalatoris breaks through and wins a big-time golf tournament.
Let me tell you something.
Willie Z, baby. Willie Z.
Look at the board. Who do I got? I got Willie Z. I got Hideki.
I didn't even see that.
You didn't even talk about this. Oh, my God, help us. Come on, gambler.
I'm telling you.
I'm just rooting for
taking
Max
some
Homa
he's hitting the ball softer, and it's going further. He's learning, right? He's getting better as a golfer, just everything. I think Willie Z is just, I think this is his time right now. But like I said, at Hideki, because he's not American, he's not this, he's not flashy, he doesn't have this and that. He's just so damn good, and you get value with him all the time, Brady. Like, this guy can legitimately win this tournament, man.
You're always getting a good price on Hideki, and you can still find him above 40-1. The reason I didn't play him, and obviously the guy's been great, shoots a 62 to win the Genesis. He was good last week again, didn't quite fire on Sunday, but he was right there heading into Sunday. I worry about the health a little bit. He pulled out of the Pro-Am last Wednesday with back problems. It never really showed up during the tournament. He said he was working on it, getting treatment here and there. But I just don't know when it might go sideways for a minute and whether he has to pull out of an event or it just causes him to play poorly. That's just an unknown for me. So I'm not ready to invest in him just yet until I hear. And will he ever be fully healthy? It seems like Hideki's always got some nagging injury, but this one was a little bit more pronounced last week, and I'm not ready to jump back in yet.
And another thing, Gabe, about Zalatoris, here what he so. Just for people that don't know, I had Will Zalatoris to win last week. Ask Brady. Gabe, on Saturday, he had a 5-shot lead. I took the dog for a walk. He gave up 7 strokes to the field. He started with a 5, and he lost 7 strokes on like the last 5 holes. It was insane. and he was pissed. And he goes, I'm so sick and effing tired of coming second and third these like, you know what I mean? Like, Zalatoris is going to get there. But Brady, that was really surprising, Gabe. He usually doesn't do that. He was been pretty consistent, and that was really hard to watch, Brady, because he's so close to winning a tournament, man. I love this
I was
kid.
right there with you. I love him too. I was right there with you. I bet him in game. I bet him on Friday night at the 36-hole cut. And I'm looking there on Saturday when he got to 11 under par. I'm fired up. I think he's the only guy maybe in the world right now, certainly on the PGA Tour, that can keep up with the ball striking of Scottie Scheffler. This guy absolutely stripes tee in with the irons.
Brady, you spoke to a lot of different handicappers this week, sort of feeling out what their best bets and props were. Who's the common theme as far as head-to-head matchup that we should be looking at?
Yeah, you know, a lot of guys are on a matchup with Justin Rose over Nikolai Højgaard. I've seen Sam Burns over Tommy Fleetwood. I personally like Xander Schauffele over Rory, and I took Ben On over Corey Connors. Let's see, what else have I seen out there? Keith Mitchell. I'm trying to remember. Oh,
people
Keith
are
Mitchell
fading
over
him, right?
No,
Aren't people fading
Keith
Mitchell?
Keith Mitchell to beat Christian Bezuidenhout was a sharp move.
Wow. Great stuff as always, Brady. Thanks for the time.
You bet, guys. Thank you.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Betting in game, there's a big difference, right? Like the computer changes the number so often. Like, I tried to get this in right now, but in reality, as I saw plus 165 in the arena, they're hitting the shot, and I'm getting this like a couple of seconds late. And even the sports book, like, technology can only like travel so fast.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
How about this? Nikola Jokic, heavy favorite here to minus 170 price, followed by SGA at plus 250, and Luka Doncic at a 7-1 price.
It would require a whole lot from Luka to, like, 15 of the next 20 games he has to have triple doubles, like something absurd. And it really just comes down to Jokic being amazing, doing everything he's doing. Like, I hate to say it, but he's probably had this locked up the second Embiid was announced out.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, we got a wild start in Vancouver. I told you guys I thought the Vancouver Canucks were going to be ready to play tonight. They took a 1-0 lead 24 seconds into the game. They dropped the puck. Vancouver dumped it in and banged it in the net. And the Canucks are off and running right now. Colorado's already JT Miller with the goal, his 33rd goal of the season. You need your best players to play well in big games, and JT Miller has played well. Canucks look sharp on their first couple of shifts. The in-game total has just popped up to 7.5 right now. I'm going to jump in. I didn't get the 6.5, and I told you guys, let's wait and see what happens here. So we're going to jump in on the 6.5, and I think Vancouver will try to tighten things up. Not tighten things up, but they're pretty good, generally pretty good with a lead. So 1-0 Canucks right now. And for the record, the Lakers and the Kings, it's tied at 29 early in the second quarter. Let's bring in Paul Bovey right now. That might have some action on this game. The Lakers and the Sacktown Kings. What's up, Paul? How you doing tonight?
I love that shirt, Gabe. But I'm trying to figure out if you came from a. I'm trying to figure out if you came from a luau or you came from Woodstock, or a combination of the two. Because it's absolutely awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Look, it's
a Woodstock luau parlay. Yeah, it's
look, so you're saying I'd fit in, right? In Hawaii or Mexico, I'm on the beach. I figured it's pretty good. It's sort of that casual. I've worn it in Vegas once, but it's actually an Under Armour golf shirt. Cam, which golfer? There's a golfer on tour that wears this, actually. I saw him wearing it. I forget who it is. There's a guy.
Kokrak used to wear that shirt, and then he went to live. I saw him, and I go, he's wearing Morency's shirt there. I remember. He beat down Xander Shoffley wearing that shirt.
See, there's an Under Armour logo in there, kind of blended in.
Yep.
It's kind of in there.
Love it.
I appreciate it, Paul. I love your T-shirt, too. Look great.
I got to tell you, I have T-shirts going back 35 years, 40 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. They still fit you. That's insane.
It really is.
It's not.
Oh, my God.
This is a
2-0 Vancouver. Sorry. Vancouver just scored again.
Excellent. That's great. I'm on them, too.
What a juggernaut. What a juggernaut. You got to come to Vancouver, Paul. Watch some real hockey. Wait till the weather gets a little nicer there. A nice playoff run in Vancouver coming up here.
I'll be there. My favorite sushi place is there. Memories of Pavel Bure. Love the Vancouver Canucks going way back when. So I'm going to have to get dialed into Canucks. Looking forward to that trip to Vancouver, my favorite city.
I'll tell you what, the Rangers are really playing well right now. And the Knicks, you think, will the Knicks get back on track, Paul? Now they got Anunoby back. They're going to need Randall back. They're still going to lack scoring, but Anunoby does change things a little bit. It's better at least to have him back right now. They have been playing great defense over the last couple of games. Hell, last 3 games have held their opponents to 80 points or less.
Yeah, and Anunoby, first game back was a plus 24, which was a team best. I don't think you can expect much of Randall for the same reasons I stated on the Shaq when the injury occurred, because I had 9 dislocations. And I can tell you, after the first one, I was never the same. It was chronic. It held me back in ways. And I finally had the surgery, and it was the best thing I ever did. And that's what's in the offseason. He will undergo surgery, without a doubt. But will he be effective this season? Limited. It does come back at all.
Paul Bovey kicking with us. 37-34 right now. Cam, I don't know if you bet this game, but like we said, it's 2-0 for the Canucks. But the Lakers are up 37-34. They played last week. The Lakers were up by 19 early. They were up like 32-13 type of deal. But Sacramento ended up coming back and smoking them in the second half and blowing them out. Like they were down by 19 and ended up winning by double digits after.
Are you watching this college scoreboard, Gabe? There's the story that, like, I guess is falling under the radar. DePaul was what was DePaul, a 24.5-point dog? They're winning outright against Villanova.
That would be a massive, a crazy upset. Mm-hmm. It won't happen, though.
It won't happen, but they're up. What are they up right now? They're up 5.
They're up 5.
Yeah. They'll blow it, but I'm just saying that's pretty nut. Like they were the biggest dog on the board. Huge.
I had Villanova in a money line parlay, but I cashed it out because I won the other 3 games, and Villanova paid so little that I was like,
exactly.
I don't need to. I was like, yeah, whatever. I wanted to roll it over after, but if anything, right now I'm going to wait and see for Villanova. A good spot to bet on Villanova here. I'd like it to come down a little bit. It's still minus 240 on the money line, but there's no way in hell Villanova are losing this game to DePaul. So we got Bovey back. Paul, what did you do with the Laker and the King game? I was talking about it. I was on the Lakers last week when they blew the 19-point lead to the Kings, and I brought it up earlier off the top of the show. Sacramento are 3-7 against the spread when playing back-to-back nights. They're kind of an all-over-the-place team. They blew Milwaukee out last night. What did you do with the game, with the Lakers and the Kings?
You know, to be honest, I rested on my laurels tonight. I had 2 winners. Orlando barely held on to this half-point number, but this is typical of the NBA. Open a 18-point lead and then start thinking about what you're going to do after the blow the cover. And fortunately, they did not. But I had a big play on the Pistons tonight, shaky at halftime, 57-52. But they came back and pretty much dominated in half and won going away. I didn't do anything with this game. When I look at a game, to go back and forth and postulate on it, I tend to just sit back and possibly play live. But since I'm not even looking at the game right now.
Listen, Paul, you're very glitchy, so we're gonna have to get you out of here. But if you got a pick you want to share with us, a best bet or something, throw it out there before we let you go. Because it's sort of like, imagine it's like a phone line. It sounds like someone's calling in on the other line every 2 seconds. So what's a bet for us before we get you out of here?
Okay, take Orlando on Friday. I like the over on OKC Dallas tomorrow night. The Knicks first half tomorrow night. They dominated the first game. They should clear the 5.5, 6-point number easy with Anunoby back in the lineup. Sorry, guys. I appreciate it. I'm in the Philippines, and I didn't have a chance to, solidify the.
Well, it's suddenly clear now that I said we're going to let you go. You've had like a nice little run in the last 90 seconds here. Not bad for the Philippines. Right. No, it's true. I appreciate it. Yeah,
very good. Yes.
We do appreciate your time, Paul. When are you going to be back? You still going to be there next week, or are you going to be back in Mexico?
I will be here, but I'll certainly. I already have the internet company coming down here and just tuning. I get new router, tuning it up. I'll be back, and I'll be better than ever. So see you guys next week. Okay.
I'll send you a DM with some Filipino basketball league picks. Now that you're there, we're going to go see a basketball game. I bet on the league, so I'll give you some insight.
Hey, they really love basketball here. It is the game, and it's great. It's great watching NBA in the morning. It's kind of a different vibe, you know what I mean? But it's a pretty good one.
Yeah. My brother's in town, Paul and Gabe, and she's from the Philippines, and she's with my brother there. She was telling me about cockfighting and all sorts of crazy stuff going down there. Big money in that stuff. It is massive in the Philippines. Like, fight to the death roosters, man. Like, crazy stuff. Big money.
Yeah. I'm not a believer in it, so I'm not a believer in pugilism.
I don't want to see. I'm with you, Paul. I'm just saying, I don't want to watch roosters kill each other either, but they're into that. Yeah. It's a big deal. It's big. It's a big betting game down there. She was saying.
Well, that was a big thing for Manny
boxing and basketball are the biggest.
Yeah. I mean, Pacquiao was really into cockfighting for a while, and then he got out of it because it was just so politically incorrect that he just stepped back. Fortunately for him.
He's not too politically correct though. So he's probably stepped back into it. But anyways, Paul, thanks.
Later,
for
Paul.
The time.
I love Paul.
And we better let you go. I don't
care.
want to get Paul killed there. The government's tuning in, saying, "All right, criticizing Manny Pacquiao."
Yeah, you don't mess with Pacquiao. It's a big mistake.
No, he was. All right, thank you, Paul. All right, see you guys.
Paul.
All right. God, that was like a phone call that wouldn't end. All right, see you. Bye. It's like, all right, I was going to say, Tom, just hang up on him now. All right.
Back in the lines are crossing.
Okay.
I'm hearing everybody. Yeah, it's like, what the hell's going on here?
It's like, move on. All right, we tried, whatever. Paul tried. Hey, you know what? I didn't even know he was in the Philippines. I thought I thought he was in Mexico, but not where he normally is type of deal. But he checked in. I guess Paul is going to be in the Philippines for a little while now, and he's got the internet company on the way. So it'll be good next week. I don't think he was at his regular spot tonight. 2-0 Vancouver. And we've talked a lot this year about the Vancouver Canucks and their ability, which is amazing, that it's just, you know, I've never really seen too much anything like this before. Which a good example, look, they played 9 minutes of this game. They have 5 shots on goal, but they have 2 goals. Right? Like normally when teams have 5 shots on goal, they're not going to have 2 goals. The Canucks' goal to shots on goal ratio is incredibly high. And it's not really a good thing in a way because it's not something that could be sustainable. It's like winning basketball games, like shooting 75% from 3 every night or something. It's like like I said, the Canucks will take like 11 shots on goal and score 4 times. And then in the end, they'll get outshot like 32-22, but they win the game 4-1. But this has been their pattern all year. And they're playing really well tonight, though. Like I said, it's a great start for them. They're dialed in right now, Kim. They struggled coming out of the All-Star break. It broke their momentum a little bit, like Edmonton. It did break their momentum a little bit. And also Vancouver, they got a little cute. They started to buy into their hype a little bit. Guys started to sort of try to score goals, and the little details weren't getting attended to. And then the Canucks weren't beating good teams. Whenever they played a good team, they would lose. It was like, all right, they lost to a good team, and then they beat up a bunch of bad teams for 2 weeks, and then they lose to a good team again. But when they lost that 4-game losing streak, Cam, they kind of hit rock bottom, you know, as far as this year was concerned. And what have they done since then? They've rattled off 4 straight wins and beating like good team. They beat the Kings. They're up 2-0 on the Avs. Bro, they smashed the Jets the other night. The Jets are good. Yep. It was 5-0 at one point. They won 5-0.
What it is?
Like they're cruising this team now, and they're playing playoff style hockey, bro. They needed to learn to do it, and they kind of are now. It's like, wow, you guys, it took you like 2 weeks in the regular season of losing a few games to realize we need to do this and that, and now they're doing it, and they're right back on track, and they look like they're playoff ready. This team. Even without, and don't worry, Demko will be back in a couple of weeks.
He will be. Shots can be misleading. LA has 17 shots. They don't score a goal because their chances suck. Vancouver might have less shots. Their quality of scoring opportunities has been
they still give up
strong.
opportunities, though. They've been better in the last week, though. The last 4 games have been better.
There's a lot of positives when you watch their games. They're tightening up, and you know what? You know hockey, Gabe. You played in net. Shots isn't the story all the time, but I'm liking what I see from this club. And if they beat the Avalanche tonight, that's a great step.
For the record, Villanova are now minus 650 on the money line. I knew like the minus 220 was good, but still too high.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Betting in-game, there's a big difference, right? Like the computer changes the number so often. Like I tried to get this in right now, but in reality, as I saw plus 165 in the arena, they're hitting the shot. And I'm getting this like a couple of seconds late. And even the sports book, like technology can only like travel so fast.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
How about this? Nikola Jokic, heavy favorite here to minus 170 price, followed by SGA at plus 250, and Luka Doncic at a 7-1 price.
It would require a whole lot from Luka to like 15 of the next 20 games he has to have triple doubles, like something absurd. And it really just comes down to Jokic being amazing, doing everything that he's doing. Like, I hate to say it, but he's probably had this locked up the second Embiid was announced out.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Thanks to Paul Bobby for joining us. Edmonton Oilers up 3-2 on the Washington Capitals. Capitals, I've talked about this, guys. For those of you to pay attention, I know some of you do. The Western Canadian swing is a killer. It's a killer, and you notice that Cam, like the Capitals have played themselves back into the playoff picture, like they're kind of right there. I saw a poll the other day. It was like, which one of these teams will make the playoffs? It was like the Islanders, the Capitals, and the Lightning, whatever. The teams battling for the wild cards. And I didn't respond, but I saw it, and I was gonna talk about it on the show, and I'm bringing it up now. Is that the Capitals, bro? By the end of this week, they're gonna be done. They're going through the gauntlet. You're going through the gauntlet. You are already on the West Coast already. You lost the other night. Now you get the Oilers tonight. You're gonna lose here. Just to imagine, so who was it the Kraken? Who did they play the other night? Was it the Kraken? Whoever the hell they started the trip with. I think it was the Kraken. Yeah. So I think it was whatever. I'm going to look it up here. But anyways, I saw their trip. I was like, because this is their second game on the road in this trip. Mm-hmm. So they played Monday night, and I saw it. I was like, they're doomed. They're playing on Saturday against Vancouver. Like, so by the time they get to Vancouver on Saturday, and they have another game before that, they're going to be on the ropes. And Vancouver will kill them on Saturday. And when they're going to look back, they're going to go, wow, our season came to an end because we went 0-4 on that trip, 0-5. Yep. That's what's going to happen. And I told you guys a million times through the year, it's one of the best bets that flies under the radar in sports. No one's going to talk about it. It's not like, the Alberta trip and stuff, the Manitoba trip. It's not exactly sexy. But teams do not do well. Nobody does well. Maybe like the Bruins can bang through and go 500, but hell, even they were losing games in overtime on the West Coast. Nobody, it's tough travel. They're tough games. It's tough time zone too. A lot of these teams, they're not from the same time zone. You're playing late at night all the time, every night on the West Coast. It's just a killer, and you're seeing the Caps are going to be victims, the next victims